Welcome to another Learning to Read video series drum lesson. This drum lesson covers the topic of the 9-stroke roll. In order to follow along with this lesson, you're going to need the beat sheet titled 9-stroke rolls, and you can get that at onlinedrummer.com. The 9-stroke roll gets its name because when you play it in an open technique, you're actually hitting the drum 9 times, or you have 9 strokes in the drum head. Playing it in an open technique very slowly, a 9-stroke roll is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You'll see that all of the strokes are double strokes. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, until the last hit. You can also start that with your left hand. Left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left. Playing it that slow doesn't sound very neat. So when you speed it up, you get a nice sounding roll. There are a couple methods or techniques used to play the 9-stroke roll, and I've already mentioned one, which is the open technique. The open technique, what that generally means is that you are making each stroke very definite. They're heard. You actually have 9 strokes. In order to play the open 9-stroke roll faster, a lot of drummers use what's called a bounce technique. So instead of actually hitting the drum twice really quickly to play the 9-stroke roll, they let it bounce. So you just put some pressure on the tip of the stick and hold it down and catch it so that it bounces twice. And you do that with the left hand. And then you put it together into the 9-stroke roll. Another technique to the 9-stroke roll is the closed 9-stroke roll. And when you play the closed 9-stroke roll, what you're doing, instead of getting a definite double bounce or a definite 9 strokes, instead of the double bounce, you're using a buzz, just like in a buzz roll. So there you would count that as 2 strokes, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and you put it together so that it sounds like a roll. So we had the open 9-stroke roll where each stroke was very definite, and then we had the closed 9-stroke roll where it sounded more like a buzz. In this lesson, we're going to use the closed technique to play the rolls. Generally, and this isn't always the case, but when you're playing at a slower tempo, you want to use a closed roll to keep your roll sounding like a roll. If you're playing a slow tempo roll with an open technique, it's not really going to sound like a roll. Take a look at measure number 2 of line 1, and you'll see the 9-stroke roll. A 9-stroke roll is really a quarter note with 3 slashes written on the stem, and then usually it has a number 9 above it. It may not always be there, but it usually does, and that indicates that it's a 9-stroke roll. The 9-stroke roll is also usually tied to the next note. So you'll look under it and you'll see this line that connects it to the next note, and it just tells you that there's a connection there, that you're going to roll all the way up into count 2, 1 E and 2. Take a look at line number 1, measure number 1. There we have the familiar 4/16 notes with a quarter note after it, 1 E and a 2, and that quarter note is accented, and for a review that means to play it louder, have it stick out above the rest, 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4. The reason this measure, this particular pattern is there on measure 1 is to show the relationship between that pattern and the 9-stroke roll pattern that you see in measure 2. Measure 2 is counted the same way as measure 1. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4, and then you get into the 9-stroke rolls, the closed 9-stroke rolls. You still have 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4 with the buzzes. Obviously, when you play the buzz roll or the 9-stroke roll, you want it to flow together to sound like a roll. You don't want each stroke to stick out. So it should sound something like this. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4. Let's play line number 1 together. 1 and 2 and ready and a go E and a 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4, 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4. Start with the left and a 2, 3 E and a 4, 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4. The only difference with the 9-stroke roll on line number 2 and the 9-stroke roll on line number 1 is that instead of being tied to a quarter note, now it's tied to an 8th note. If you look at measure number 1 of line 2, you'll see that you have 1 E and a 2 and then the 9-stroke roll, 3 E and it's tied to the 8th notes, 4 and 3 and a 4 and of course you want to put it together so that it sounds like a roll. Let's play line number 2 together. 1 and 2 and ready and a go E and a 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 line number 3 has a 9-stroke roll that begins on the and of 3. And if you look before that to the beginning of measure 1, you're going to see the pattern 1 and 2 E and. Well, the 9-stroke roll pattern is actually played just like that, except you have to incorporate the roll. It's counted the same. 1 and 2 E and, then you have 3 and 4 E and. So the only difference there are those buzzes to incorporate the 9-stroke roll. Let's play line number 3 together. 1 and 2 and ready and a go E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 the 2 E and 3 and the 4 E and 1 and the 2 E and 3 and the 4 E and. On to line number 4, there's nothing new as far as the 9-stroke roll goes, except we do add some rim playing in, so just watch your counting and your tempo. Let's play line number 4 together. 1 and 2 and ready and a go E and a 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3, 4 and a 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3, 4 and a. Line number 5 gets a little tricky because it has a lot of accents in it in different patterns. It mixes it up a little. I'm going to play it through slowly. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. Let's try playing it through together. 1 and 2 and ready and a go and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3, 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. Line number 6 gets a little crazy with the rim playing, going back and forth. And also, we usually alternate sticking, and then on the repeat, we switch to start with the left hand. However, on this particular line, you're not going to be able to do that because the last thing is a 9-stroke roll, and it starts with the right. 4 E and there's no way you can double up there. 4 E and hit a clean left stroke. So what you're going to do is play your 4 E and close it off with your 1 with your right stick like usual, but then just hit another right. So really what we're doing is pretending that we hit the first note with the left stick and then switching to the right on the second hit. So it'll be like this: 4 E and 1 E and 2 and. Let's play line number 6 together. 1 and 2 and ready and a go E and 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3, 4 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. And there you have it. That's the 9-stroke roll. Remember, there are 2 techniques. You can play it open, where each stroke is heard, or you can play it closed, where it sounds more like a buzz. I hope this lesson was useful to you. Keep practicing and keep drumming.